Imagine this, a sad event where people are saying goodbye to someone they loved, and there's a coffin about to be put in the ground. But just when everyone was about to say their final goodbyes, a huge bear suddenly showed up and stopped the funeral. What happened next was really surprising and left everyone very confused. Get ready for a story that will make you think differently about the way nature works. A journey from the countryside to the city. Sandra, a woman, arrived in a small town in Southern California after communism ended. Her parents owned a big piece of land and started a small tobacco factory. Since she was a child, Sandra had to help on the farm, which took up a lot of her time and left her with little free time. This was especially true during the harvest season when she had to take care of the animals and manage the factory. Sandra's family did well in business and farming, but she grew tired of it. Her friends in a nearby town told her stories about how they could read books, play, and watch TV, while Sandra had to work all the time. This made her decide that when she grew up, she would leave the countryside, go to college, and experience city life, where she wouldn't have to do the same work every day. When Sandra shared her plans with her parents, they strongly disagreed. They told her she couldn't leave and wanted her to stay with them and keep working on the farm and factory. They even pointed out her younger brother, Justin, who had quit school at 16 to join the family business. But Sandra remained firm in her decision. She felt unhappy because she desired more from life. One day, when the rest of her family went to church, Sandra took the opportunity to escape and traveled to Chicago. She left a mysterious letter for her family, mentioning that she had gone to college without revealing the location. Although the journey was stressful, Sandra felt content about her choice. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to persevere and not give up. She mentally prepared herself for the challenges that lay ahead, from struggle to success. When Sandra arrived in Chicago, she realized she needed money. She started asking people she didn't know for spare change because she had to start somewhere to think about going to college. But on her second day on the street, a man named Samuel came up to her. Samuel was surprised to see a lively young girl asking strangers for money, so he asked Sandra why she was doing it. Sandra honestly shared her plans with Samuel, which touched him. As a result, Samuel offered Sandra a job and a place to live. When Sandra heard this, she couldn't believe it, and tears of happiness filled her eyes. She began working soon after and saved enough money to rent a small apartment. Later, she pursued studies in economics and law. During her studies, she worked hard and became one of the top students in her class. Sandra knew she didn't have any connections, so she understood that she had to put in more effort than others to have a chance at success. Luckily, the man who had been helping her in Chicago recommended her to the boss of a big company that provided economic solutions. It turned out that the boss was Samuel's cousin. This company was one of the largest businesses in the city, and Samuel introduced Sandra as a talented, ambitious, and dedicated young woman. The boss decided to give Sandra an opportunity. This marked the beginning of Sandra's own career, and she achieved tremendous success. The unexpected reunion. Sandra, despite not keeping in touch with her family, didn't know what to say to them. She felt successful in her life and believed she didn't owe anything to her parents. However, one day she received a surprising phone call from her younger brother, Justin. Justin's friends in Chicago saw an advertisement for the company where Sandra worked and informed Justin about it. After thinking it over, Justin decided to contact his sister. During the call, Justin delivered the sad news that their mother had passed away 2 years ago and their father had just died 2 days ago. This news came as a shock to Sandra, although she had been preparing for such an eventuality. Despite not having any contact with her family for 15 years and not really knowing her brother anymore, Justin asked Sandra to attend the funeral. Though hesitant, Sandra, who was already married and expecting a child, agreed to go alone. Upon returning to her homeland, Sandra found that not much had changed on the family farm during her absence. Justin greeted her and filled her in on what had happened after Sandra left for Chicago. As Sandra had expected, her parents didn't take her departure well. They had initially believed it was temporary and that she would return home when she faced hardships. However, as time passed, they realized she wouldn't come back. Their mother grew increasingly saddened by this, and when she died of cancer, she regretted not being able to say goodbye to her eldest child. Their father, on the other hand, neglected himself and left all responsibilities to Justin. The only thing he cared about was his pet bear, who had saved him from potential death in the forest. The father had helped the wounded bear and became fiercely loyal to him, even displaying human-like behavior. After her guardian's death, the bear appeared to be deeply unhappy. The bear's gift: Sandra's journey of advocacy for animals. During an evening conversation, Sandra shared her life experiences and the challenges she had faced. Suddenly, everything went black for her. The next thing she remembered was waking up in a wooden coffin surrounded by her father's ashes that Justin had shown her the day before. She could hear muffled sounds of a funeral and Justin's strange shouts, urging for a quick burial without following the usual religious rituals. Everyone was taken aback by what Justin did, but they believed he was deeply affected by their father's passing. Sandra found herself inside the coffin next to her father, but she couldn't move or talk because Justin had drugged her. Just as they were about to lower the coffin into the grave, Sandra suddenly heard screams and a loud thud as the coffin hit the ground, causing it to break open. From within the coffin, Sandra caught a glimpse of a bear's eyes, but the animal was searching for something else. Failing to find it, the bear dashed off into the forest, dragging a piece of string that someone tried to grab. Sandra, paralyzed with fear, noticed a group of people gathered at the cemetery. Among them was a local police officer who also happened to be Sandra and Justin's cousin. The officer explained what had transpired. It turned out that Justin was furious because their fathers will have left half of the farm to Sandra. Justin resented his older sister for leaving home and coveted the farm for himself, especially after witnessing Sandra's success in Chicago. The bear had sensed a living presence inside the coffin and had attempted to liberate it, mistaking it for its owner. When Sandra tumbled out of the coffin, the bear made its escape. The whole situation was absurd, and if Justin had confided in Sandra about his emotions, she would have willingly relinquished her share of the farm. Sandra packed her belongings and departed, choosing not to press charges against Justin. All she desired was to leave and never return. She came to realize that she owed her life to the bear, as if they shared a unique connection, displaying great courage by saving her. People and animals can have a special and loving connection, like a family bond. People who have pets or animals that help them believe that animals can feel different feelings like being scared, mad, embarrassed, happy, or sad. Animals think of people as part of their group, and this makes both the family and the animals feel safe and secure. After the strange events at the funeral, Sandra started a new journey to learn more about the strong connection between people and animals. She studied and talked about how important it is to treat animals well. Sandra became a leader in animal rights, telling people to be kind and understanding toward animals. Her amazing experience with the bear at her dad's grave inspired others to see that all living creatures are connected. Sandra's legacy, or the things she left behind, reminds us that our connection with animals is beyond what we can fully understand. It always makes us think about the natural world in new ways. Sandra's hard work and strong feelings led to a special group being created. This group helps take care of wildlife and makes sure animals are treated well. Sandra's work changed how we look at and protect our animal friends forever.